Ma'rib marks 60th anniversary of the 26 September revolution and affirms rejection of the Houthi coup. Senior military commander escapes an assassination attempt in Shabwa, south of Yemen. Tim Linder King says Houthis make more problems with the implementation of the truce. Welcome to Yemen Today TV. This is the English News with me, Shazad Dirbay. Ma'rib witnessed a large ceremony in the memorial of September 26 revolution. In celebration of this occasion and in the presence of a large official led by a member of the Presidential Leadership Council, the Chief of the General Staff Commander of Joint Operations and Minister of Youth and Sports marked the launch of official celebrations. People of Ma'rib have long defended the Republic against the Imamis. This defense continues even now by fighting Houthi militia. This report has more details.
On these valleys, mountains and deserts, the Republican regime was put to the test 8 years ago, and the militia paid thousands of its troops in a miserable attempt to overthrow Ma'rib, the city of dignity. What remained of the revolutionary glow of the eternal September Revolution, the homeland of the Republican rebel Ali Nasser al-Qarda'i and his free companions. At that time, all the tribes of Ma'rib with all its components answered the call and stood in one row. Everyone threw away all the differences and tribal revolts in return for the victory of the Republican regime, bearing in mind one option and nothing else. Either they get free or slaves. Their necks bow to the new imams, and this last option is not accepted by those who know dignity and loftiness.
We are here fighting the injustice and continuing the revolutions made by our ancestors, like the 26th September and the 14th of October revolutions. We are following the same path guided by the goals of the 26th September revolution. We will keep fighting till we bring freedom to Yemen and all governorates. We are not going to give up on our country.
The struggle of the people of Ma'rib is not the result of the moment. Many pages of the nation's history were written with the blood of the people of this province, through rounds of confrontation, searching for a safe homeland and freedom for all the people to enjoy, rejecting the injustice and backwardness that permeated the hearts of Yemenis for decades before the dawn of the 26th September 1962. The tribesmen of Ma'rib waged their most important battle with the descendants of the Imamate and their dynasty that seeks to restore the era of backwardness and ignorance, and for the sake of the stable life that the Yemeni people have lived during the past 50 years. Thousands of tribesmen are still sacrificing for it till today on all fronts of fighting on the walls of Ma'rib.
The people of Ma'rib has a military history. Tomorrow is the anniversary of the 26th of September revolution, when martyr Sheikh Ali Nasser al-Qarda'i initiated the 1948 revolution, which made a huge success. People of Ma'rib and other Yemeni governorates gather to defend the goals of the 26th September revolution.
The fierce confrontations that the tribesmen showed with their personal weapons in the face of the Houthi militia that plundered the resources of the country was a faithful risk that gave great motives and hope to the Yemenis, who rose towards restoring Sana'a and the rest of other provinces and rerouting the revolution of September 26th again, protecting the goals and gains of the revolution and its embodiment on the ground as it was, before the chaos of the year 2011 that afflicted the homeland and the capabilities of the state.
The 5th Brigade of Shabwa Defense escaped an assassination attempt after his convoy was attacked in Markha district. A gunman riding a motorcycle fired bullets at his convoy while it was passing near Al Wasit area. According to military sources, the gunman fled through rugged dirt roads. The U.S. Special Envoy for Yemen, Tim Linder King, said the Houthis are making obstacles to implement the truce. Linder King added, instead of opening the roads, the Houthis fueled the conflict and killed civilians in Taz. He further said that the United Nations condemned the Houthi attacks in Taz. The chairman of the Presidential Council has concluded intensive diplomacy to pressure the Houthis to abide by the truce. This came on the sideline of the 77th session of the United Nations Assembly in New York. This report has more details.
Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, United States, and Britain condemned the Iran-backed Houthi militia's latest escalation in Yemen. Known as the Quad, the countries reiterated strong commitment to the unity, sovereignty, independence, and torrential integrity of Yemen, and their commitment to stand by the people of Yemen through efforts to reach an end to the conflict and the ongoing humanitarian crisis. U.S. State Department statement stated that the Quad welcomed the tangible benefits delivered by the truce for the Yemeni people since it commenced on April 2, 2022. They welcomed the continuing implementation of agreed confidence-building measures and leadership of the government of Yemen, including facilitating the flow of fuel into Hodeidah port despite the Houthis' order that delayed the established process for clearing ships and the resumption of flights in and out of Sana'a airport. They called for the implementation of the outstanding measures, including the opening of the main roads around Taiz and an agreement on a joint mechanism for the payment of civil servant salaries. They also condemned the Houthis' large-scale military reinforcement, all attacks that threatened the truce, including the recent Houthi attacks on Taiz and the recent Houthi military parade in Hodeidah in violation of the Hodeidah Agreement. The Quad therefore fully supported the efforts of the UN Special Envoy Hans Kumberg to extend and expand the truce on October 2, 2022, in addition to the full implementation of all terms of the truce. The Quad agreed that a permanent ceasefire and a durable political settlement must be the ultimate objectives of the Yemeni-led and Yemeni-owned political process under UN auspices, and that such a settlement must be based on the agreed references and relevant UN Security Council resolutions. They covered regional and international efforts to renew the truce in order to pave the way for a fair and comprehensive agreement that would end the Houthi coup and restore the rule of the state.
A meeting chaired by Prime Minister approved the plans of development projects in 6 important sectors with a value of $400 million. The development projects will be supported by Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates. The meeting also approved the letter submitted by the Arab Monetary Fund and authorized by the Governor of the Central Bank of Yemen. The UN warned that the level of hunger in Yemen and the African Horn is unprecedented. Donors have been contributing to ease the suffering of the people in those regions. The latest support in this regard has been announced by Australia. This report has more details.
Yemen is now the worst humanitarian crisis in the world since the start of the war. The current level of hunger in Yemen is exceptional. 23 million people are estimated to need humanitarian assistance in 2022. 13 million of whom were estimated to be in dire need. While the international community and human rights organizations are working to support Yemen, they are supporting other countries in need, such as Ethiopia and Somalia. The Minister of International Development announced on Friday that Australia has decided to deliver to the region food, water, and other essential support. Australia will give $15 million in emergency assistance to the region, which is already impacted by food conflict and climate change, which can be called now as the edge of famine. Australia is concerned about the rising levels of food insecurity globally, and they have already contributed more than $50 million to the World Food Programme for food assistance in 2022. This support will help avert famine and provide life-saving assistance in Africa and Yemen. They are going to give this financial aid as an emergency money to be distributed to World Food Programme and other trusted non-government organizations. Australia wants to expand its engagement with African countries, including working with Ethiopia, Somalia, and Yemen, in order to overcome the enormous food insecurity challenges that they are dealing with. In a joint statement for Foreign Affairs, they stated that the government had also committed to ongoing support, contributing to food security and famine relief. What's also worsening the situation, that the ongoing conflict and climate instability have also driven hunger rates to high levels, with 60% of the world's current hunger situation afflicted by war and violence. Yemeni people and children are in acute need for this support. This aid will slightly help ease the harsh situation on them, but it's a temporary painkiller.
The Sudanese Navy seized a Yemeni fishing boat in the Red Sea carrying a large amount of weapons on its way to the Houthi militia. The spokesman of the Sudanese Armed Forces confirmed that the boat was seized near the 7 islands led by 4 Yemenis. A child was killed and 2 of her brothers were injured when a landmine left by the Houthi militia exploded in Hais. Yemen Today correspondent said that Hudaydah, the Houthi mine, killed a 15-year-old girl and causing injuries for her siblings. According to the correspondent, the victims were hit by the mines in Hais and were soon taken to Mecca to receive the necessary treatment.
An explosion incident happened yesterday, resulted in the death of a child called Lena, and her 2 brothers were injured, and they are laying in the hospital at this moment. We have dismantled today an explosive device, along with a landmine in the entrance of this mosque, and we have found yesterday landmines near the place of the incident, but thankfully, Massam team has handled the issue.
3 kids died after drowning in a hole filled with water in Shabwa. Yemen Today correspondent stated that a local source said the 3 boys from the village of Kura died this evening. The source stated that the people who rushed to the place tried to find help, but they failed. Coming next in the news. Taiz University suffers low enrollment rates due to the war.
المرأة عندهم ما فيش لها خروج، ما فيش تطلع لها، ما فيش لها مشاركة، ولكن بالتحديات التي وصلنا إليها وبالمعوقات الكسر الحاجز.
Iman is the owner and manager of Yemen's first rural solar microgrid. The high cost of diesel-generated power has deprived many poor families of electricity access. But now, the solar power plant provides affordable energy for 43 households so far. I can say with confidence, we could alleviate the suffering of vulnerable people and ease the economic burden from their shoulders. Supported by UNDP, Iman leads a group of 10 women who installed a solar microgrid to provide clean, low-impact energy for residents in rural labs. Supported by the European Union, UNDP and Iman's project were recently awarded the prestigious Ashton Humanitarian Energy Award for innovative energy in rural areas. And Iman was named one of BBC's most influential women in 2020. Solar energy is a core component of UNDP's support to rural Yemenis, facilitating access to electricity for education, healthcare, and leisure. Services fundamental to a community-led and owned recovery.
Welcome back. King Salman Humanitarian Aid signed with the humanitarian coordinator in Yemen a financial contribution amounting to $10 million to address the danger of safer tanker. The 2 sides discussed humanitarian and relief efforts in Yemen, ways to confront humanitarian, economic, and environmental dangers to safer tanker, and the necessary measures to avoid its potential risks. The constant delay in tackling the issue of safer tanker, which puts danger in the Red Sea region, proves that the world often does not learn from past experience. According to some environmental experts, the world seems to be ignoring a time bomb as long as it's noiseless. This report has more details.
The persistent delay in addressing the issue of the aging safer tanker threatens unprecedented pollution in the Red Sea region and proves that the world often doesn't learn from past experiences. It seems that the world is ignoring time bombs as long as they are noiseless. SEP reached the brink of replicating the case of Beirut port that exploded in 2020. All officials were aware that there were thousands of tons of explosive ammonium nitrate stored in the port, but they ignored it because the explosives were dormant. This is exactly the nature of a time bomb. If people wait for the detonator to sound and the smoke to rise, then it will have been too late to stop the explosion. Safer is an old American oil tanker built in 1976 and later converted into a floating storage and a floating vessel where it was used to store and offload oil from the fields around Ma'rib. The American partner operating company at the time found that converting the tanker into a storage and offloading vessel was faster and cheaper than building permanent onshore facilities. Later, Safer's ownership was transferred to the Yemeni National Oil Company before it ceased operations in 2015 due to the war, but maintenance had stopped years before that due to plans to build tanks and permanent loading facilities onshore. Therefore, the tanker has been considered obsolete since 2016 due to the lack of necessary maintenance and the cessation of periodic technical inspections. Rust hit large parts of the tanker, generators and firefighting systems collapsed, and air entered the storage tanks, exposing the oil to oxidation. All this makes Safer a time bomb, liable to explode at any moment. Rust and cracks may cause massive oil spills, and strong waves and hurricanes may lead to completely wrecking the ship and causing its contents to flow right into the sea.
An explosive device planted on the road near a security point exploded south of Taz. Sources confirmed that the death of one citizen and the injury of 11 others, with 4 people in critical condition. This incident comes with the transfer of prisoners accused of killing the guard of the governor of Taz. In Yemen, most of the universities are physically shattered. Many public university buildings had been destroyed, and another 25 university buildings also got destroyed. This report has more details.
The general demand for university education in Taiz is witnessing a frightening decline in the number of applicants to study, and this number is decreasing year after year.
There is a low enrollment rates to universities within the young generation. This could be because of the hard living and economic conditions, or parents' disability to afford it. Another reason might be the lack of awareness of education importance.
A large gap between the outcome of secondary education and enrollment rates in the universities. According to official statistics, the number of students enrolled at Taiz University this year reached 4,000 students in all academic systems, at a rate of 50% decrease compared to the rates of last year.
The University of Taiz normally accepts around 7,000 students each year, but this year the number is definitely 50% less than usual. This is alarming and threatening, so our message to the concerned institutions is to address this issue immediately.
It's a heartbreaking situation, especially that there are 15 departments have a great lack of students, and it's expected that the majority of these departments will be closed if this decline continues. This reluctance of young people to enroll in universities calls for a serious action.
Torrential rains cut the road linking Taiz and the southern governorates. The sources added that the torrential rains followed on the heights overlooking Hayjat al-Abd, causing interruption of traffic in the line. The roads are filled with cooperation, and the General Authority for Fisheries in the Arabian Sea launched a project to support fishing sector in Yemen. The secretary of the local council in Hadramaut explained that the project includes supporting 50 fishermen with fishing equipment and training. Here's a reminder of the main headlines. Ma'rib marks 60th anniversary of 26 September revolution and affirms rejection of Houthi coup. Senior military commander escapes an assassination attempt in Shabwa, south of Yemen. Tim Linder King says Houthis make problems with the implementation of the truce. This is the end of the news. Thank you for watching.